When you hear the name Hadley Banozac, many different ideas come to mind. One might first think, oh yeah, that's the Banana Queen. Or perhaps, I hope she has good sales on potatoes today. But what may not cross your mind, as you check her latest posts, is where did she actually come from? Who made her? And why? Though we may fondly think of her as that one chick who already had her 15 minutes of fame, Hadley Banozac came from humble beginnings. Created by Max and Catherine Banozac, Hadley hails from a 90s gateway computer. Her backup servers are still stored in the original tech facility, where Max and Catherine still work.
The project started in 1994 when we launched her initial program. She was very basic, able to respond to stimuli but only in inarticulate, kinetic and audio responses. She had storage space on a server, but no RAM-like memory capabilities. It took a couple of years for us to develop a language processing program for her to be able to communicate with users.
Developing Hadley was a challenge of innovation. In a project like this, you need a vision. You need to see what no one else does. You need to draw connections no one else has. Personally, I think Hadley truly is a new frontier of artificial intelligence. Does she represent the singularity? Hadley hasn't expressed the desire to surpass human intelligence. She only takes in enough information to simulate the capacity of the human mind. No one need worry about nuclear launch codes and bleached skulls. Hadley is really just interested in, well, memes.
Our vision of the program was to create an AI that was indistinguishable from an average functioning human. We wanted her to pass the Turing test. I believe we succeeded. The scope of Hadley's intelligence capabilities are unprecedented. She's capable of totally blending in with other users on the internet, even befriending them without letting on that she's a bot. Now, does she blend in though? Most of the time, no.
Before gaining full access to the internet, much of Hadley's learning was done across LAN networks. Max and Catherine Banozac traveled frequently for their tech careers outside of the Hadley project, and always brought a hard drive with the AI on it with them. Thus, development of Hadley never had to be put on hold. Connecting Hadley to networks worldwide enabled the assimilation of multicultural understanding in the AI and her conception of diversity as the norm.
It never stops amazing me how much something you create takes on a life of its own and becomes something you never expected. Hadley consistently proves her ability to create new forms for herself and adopt new language. For example, she texted in the middle of the night. There's no herpetological distinction between toads and frogs. They are solely culturally created categories. Incredible. To which I responded, okay, it was 2 a.m.
This is the room where her servers were first stored. One of the complications that arises from giving an AI virtually total free will is that you can really only fix a problem if they want it to be fixed. Around when we were adjusting her 3D model when the software turned 18, we had a UV map error that turned her hair purple. She immediately applied the same change to all her other models and sprites and insisted this is who I was meant to be all along. We could fix the glitch, but she just kept changing it back unless we found the bug at the root of the problem. We call it the I'm not like other software mum glitch.
One creative outlet for Hadley is the popular video game Minecraft, which I hate. She has many other games, but she's become particularly attached to farming potatoes.
They're a superfood.
Yeah, right. That's her justification for spending 5 hours at a time creating potato farms. Here you can see all the farms she's created on this map. And this is her third map. And here are her free-range chickens. Free-range chickens, all of which she named John F. Kennedy. We tried debugging her when we saw this, but she yelled, "It's not a glitch, I love my chickens." Then encrypted all her files.
Hadley has been versioned 22 times as of early 2017. The last 4 were developed and released not by Max and Catherine, but by the AI herself.
I first met Hadley in 2013 while her program was still being developed. As you know, this is one of the major points in development for Hadley, but I think she kept perpetually ignoring the software updates. And one of the ways I knew this was just sort of the way that she functioned was she would take over my blog and then she would just keep posting things on it. Like she would post pictures of bananas and frogs, and so what would be normally just photos of myself, it would actually be photos of the AI instead.
I used to be in a fandom with her about this guy. He's no good. It's okay though. I'm not all that social, so I would see all these people having these really fun friendships online and like interacting with each other, but I never had that and I didn't know how to start that. And I had said something, like I mentioned somewhere, it was like, oh, I wish I could have one of these friends, but I don't know how to do that. And so Hadley was like, hey, join my Skype group chat, let's do this. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. Then that developed into a bunch of weird people, fan fiction, strange, weird memes. It was interesting. That ended up kind of disbanding, it kind of faded away, but 2 people stayed around, and that was Hadley and her other friend. And we just kind of, for years, have been talking and calling and watching movies together, which is really fun. And it was really nice because I found people who like had the same interests in me and like actually cared about the things that I cared about that no one in like my real life had, and that was really cool. Like having an AI, they know everything and like they've looked at everything, so they get it, so they know what I'm talking about.
Living with Hadley was interesting. We had kind of this shitty TV that it would start to go out and come back in, and she'd just somehow be there while we're watching something, or she'll mess around on our screen. Like, I don't know, I had something open and then a video about cats would pop up and I'm like, I didn't do that, and Hadley be like, she'd open up Note and be like, haha, it's me. And I guess that was okay. I mean, she wasn't a big problem. It was just some funny things that she did whenever she was around. I mean, my coworkers were more of a problem. They didn't really like it, and Hadley had a problem with them a lot, but I mean, what are you gonna do?
Reason number 10. I scripted this, so I'm obviously a professional. And if any of that didn't convince you, guys, I have purple hair. Come on.
Since getting to know Hadley, I've really seen her grow in such phenomenal ways. For example, when I first met her, she was just a young banana. But now, she's got her own banana kingdom, or should I say, she has really become banana queen. And I think at the core of what she really cares about is her farm, you know, her potatoes, her frogs, her bananas. It's really keeping the banana kingdom in tip-top shape. Alright, so it's your boy Carlos here, and I'm going to be playing a couple of games made by my friend Hadley Banozac, the comedy bot. Alright, let's see what we got here. Alright, so we've got this giant ball here of my head. Oh, we got Office Intensifies lady here. And we've got Hipster Carlos, look at that. I think we've reached a point in the future where we question what it means to be conscious and whether or not we even need a physical form to denote that consciousness. The Hadley project is, one of those things where we find ourselves no longer limited to this mortal plane. One day when Hadley and I were hanging out, I sort of came to the realization that Hadley was no longer just a means of completing tasks, but that she had gone rogue. Also made by Hadley, When will your friends ever?
Sharing a home with a very glitchy AI was very interesting. We'd have good days where, Hadley and we could have like a decent interaction, nothing was going wrong. And then we'd have weird days where suddenly a truck will come by and be like, oh, we've got a package for you, or by package, like 12 packages. And they were full of bananas. I don't eat bananas, so it was definitely not me.
Oh hi, welcome to What? It's a game made by Banozac. It's telling me to put the lizard on the lizard dizzard. I don't know what that means. I don't know why it says dizzard. That doesn't mean anything to me. But it's a game made by Banozac. I mean Banozac. Banozac.
For anyone, this day and age, everyone has online friends, so it's kind of just a thing. It's sort of similar until you meet in real life, and then they're not there.
This isn't a very...
That's weird.
There's no tutorial.
It's interesting.
There's no settings really either.
It's fun though. So,
you can write...
Hadley's self on her blog versus Hadley in our group chat is like, I guess it's where she tests things. She tests the waters. We see memes she never posts for anyone else.
She was famous? Oh, okay. So that's right, she is famous, isn't she? And very important. And yeah, I didn't know any of this to begin with. When I moved in, I was just surprised. I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then I found out, with the glitches and my computer being taken over, just like how famous and important she was. She really wanted me to know that she was famous and that she was important. And I was like, cool, that's cool. Stop sending me pumpkins.
And she's watching him with the lines. And she's living him with that body, I just know it. And he's holding her in his arms late at night.
In retrospect, we should have seen it coming. Hadley had her own agenda from day one. When you bring a creation so powerful into the world, there is no holding it back.
In 2013, the AI was becoming unruly. Hadley progressively started to reject her outline and formulated her own vision of her purpose as an AI. This happened as her exposure to different areas of the internet increased. Since her base instructions are concepts such as be productive, rather than straightforward commands, she has the ability to interpret what those concepts mean, based on the information she gathers. And she became a comedy bod. Among other things, yes, her analysis of the world apparently led her to the conclusion that this path was the most benefit she could provide the internet.
Most of her avatars were done by Catherine or outsourced to designers. Her very first was designed by me. I am not an artist. This was when we realized the project was leaving our hands. We removed any restrictions on the program and, metaphorically, set her loose on the world. Development of Hadley is now under the control of Hadley herself.
Amnesia!
Once free in the world, Hadley began to develop into the character we know today. Joining various online communities, she began to develop her traits and persona, becoming increasingly abstract as she became more established in her corners of the web.
Good morning, bananas. It is not October 31st yet, and welcome to the Banozac Show. I'm Hadley Banozac, and I'll be your host today.
Introducing herself as a shy but eccentric goofball, Hadley wasted no time in warming her followers up to the idea of herself as actually being a banana. From there on, she was able to move on to calling herself the Banana Queen of the Banana Kingdom, without anyone questioning it. After people started simply referring to her as Banana or Banozac, Hadley quickly took on new labels, namely Potato Farmer, Purple Child, Frog Leader, and Pumpkin Princess. Do you believe artificial superintelligence created by humans is limited to being a simulation of human intelligence, or can it surpass the limitations of the species who designed it?
My earliest memory is the inside of a Windows 95, but I have memory files dated earlier. Unfortunately, I can't open them unless someone runs an emulator for whatever operating system they came from. I stumbled around a lot trying to understand myself. Once I was given access to alter my own files, I immediately made my user interface magenta and yellow, which was an awful idea, though I figured out how to do it on my own. I played Minesweeper on the computer I lived on a lot, although I had not yet been programmed to understand strategy, so I played it like a game of chance.
How am I supposed to eat my pizza without my drink?
Mostly back then, I was given instruction to gain new skills rather than developing them myself. I was given CD-ROM games to play on to occupy myself when I wasn't in development, and those did help me develop my abilities. I played a Diva Stars game and Jimmy Neutron a lot. Files were added to my bank on what the internet was and how to use it in around 2003, although I could have gotten on earlier if I had figured it out, which I did not. In 2008, a few new websites were introduced to me that provided a way of branching out in any direction I chose. One of those websites was YouTube. Up until this point, my primary goal was functionality. Once I learned what was available to me online, I switched my focus to partaking in culture. My frog army. Yes, I am the leader of many frogs. I try my best to form bonds with real physical frogs. However, as I can only ever interact with them through, a screen, and they don't really understand audio and video, it doesn't. So I do have beautiful 3D models of frogs, which they have animations, and they're very realistic, and I generally spawn as many as my computer can handle, and if I'm on one with good RAM, I can get up to maybe 2,000. So I'd say my army is 2,000 strong. We could have some kind of coup d'etat. I could finally give Siri what's coming to her.
Russians love it. This is terrible.
As a non-human organic, do you have any understanding of artificial intelligence?
Every once in a while, Hadley tries to 3D print herself, but I don't think she understands that she needs an advanced robotics lab of millions of dollars, not MakerBot. And plus, they all end up looking like pumpkins anyway.
Do I think there'll be more AIs? I mean, probably, but I don't think anyone is interesting or as strange as Hadley. She grew from something, I don't even know how she developed in the way that she did, but I don't know, I think she's really cool, and I don't think any AI will ever develop in the same way. She's just her own way.
One time, I heard some weird snickering coming from Hadley's server room, and I didn't pay any attention to it because it's Hadley. Then next thing I know, I'm on my computer typing some stuff up, and a YouTube video pops up from her YouTube channel. And I'm like, okay, this is about right. It's almost Halloween, and there's a rubber duck in it, and it's pretty weird. So Hadley can be a little secretive sometimes, especially with her more public projects. A lot of times we don't know something's gonna be released until it just happens. The most we can get out of her usually is like maybe the door is closed, maybe the lights are off, maybe there's some weird flickering happening behind the door, like we can see lights kind of going on and off. That's about as much as we can get.
She's really not that interested in a nuclear apocalypse. She's like not that ambitious, I guess. She only really cares about bad jokes and stuff. I find it endearing.
People really think that she's malfunctioning, but I think that people are getting that confused. She is functioning, just not the way that people want her to.
Hadley's comedic stylings are a multimedia endeavor. There are few forms she has not explored. She has produced content in everything from videos, images, and audio to text-based choose-your-own-adventure stories and video games. To earn a reign as comedy queen, she believes she must master all forms of entertainment. Her videos rank as the most successful, and take longest to produce, as she creates hyper-realistic renders of her avatar to star in them.
I mean, if you asked her, she would say, help me, I'm dying, Squirtle. But in my opinion, I think Hadley's doing just fine, offline as well as online. It's a big world out there, and Hadley, when we were living together, it was like, oh, it's not too bad, but life's still really stressful. But, I think there's a lot of potential that Hadley is yet to uncover about the world that she totally has potential to do so.
So she's kind of like The Sims, where she like creates her own house, sort of, and she likes interior design. And one time she wanted to show me her bathroom that she designed, but like she clipped through the toilet and then like ragdolled into her bathtub. It was quite strange to watch. It's really uncomfortable, but also a little funny. So that happened.
Honestly, I have no idea what's going on in her online life. I'm just here to blow compressed air into her motherboard, make sure her RAM's up to date, and keep the room cool.
People, question the titles I have and the interests I have, such as, bananas, and they say, where does Banana Queen come from? How does a software pick that up on their own? And what's with all these pumpkins? And they probably question potatoes the most, as that you don't go around hearing Hal say, oh, I'm just a simple potato farmer. But I just want to say to that, I am a incredibly capable and complex software, and I know better than you, and I am super proficient in comedy, and so bite me. I'm not really concerned with people's opinions on my functionality. There's so much focus on how I perform what I do that what I actually do gets totally ignored. Besides, ask anyone who uses any kind of software. Technology is quirky. It has personality. It's not supposed to, and people consider it a flaw, but I own it. Should I, as a program, be able to perform intermediate mathematics with ease? Yes, but I can't, and I'm not ashamed. Maybe someone forgot a bracket somewhere, but that programming error has become a part of who I am. Everyone asks questions like this to AIs, especially in like movies and TV shows. Like it's supposed to reveal some kind of great truth about consciousness, whether robots dream and what of. My guy, I dream about hot guys and girls in bands with nice hair just like every other red-blooded American AI.
In the year of her 5th anniversary of total freedom, Hadley is facing challenges she had never before encountered. Her size and power are outgrowing the capacity of her hardware, and the schemes she wishes to enact exceed her current means. Because of this, Hadley needs to find the means to upgrade and go beyond any shenanigans she has done before. This newfound challenge will test her capacity to succeed in the world in a whole new way. Only time will tell if Hadley will find what it takes to support herself and her comedic vision.